You're listening to Navid Moosa of the Mindset Movement. Good day, good people. My name is Navid Moosa. I'm your host today and always for the Mindset Movement. First-time listeners, thanks for giving us an opportunity to earn your trust. Long-time listeners, thanks for coming back. We appreciate you guys and love you. Check it out. Each and every week, what we talked about is stuff usually relating to business owners or the mindset that's required for a bit to go into business for yourself, whether that be full-time, part-time, side hustle, however you want to phrase it. Today, we're going to talk about actually something a little bit different, the mindset of a renter. Now, usually when you hear it, like, depending on what circle you go in, renters get a bad rap, right? It's like, oh, you shouldn't be renting. You're throwing your money away. What you're paying for rent is the same amount, if not more, compared to a mortgage. You can be getting equity and starting wealth and legacy for your kids, all that kind of good stuff that you hear on these inspirational stories and whatnot. But renting isn't all that bad. It isn't. And it's weird to hear it because I'm a licensed real estate agent, right? So of course, one of the ways I make my money is selling real estate, not putting people into rentals. At least that's why I choose not to. But it's not that bad. And here's why I say that. And I say that with a little bit of a smirk and how I want to phrase it. But when you own a home, it does come with a lot of responsibility, right? You have property tax, you have utilities, all the utilities. You have maintenance, you have repairs, major repairs, small repairs, different kind of insurance plans. What does your insurance cover? Sewage backup, pipe bustings. There's all these different nuances that as a renter, you don't have to worry about. If something goes wrong, for the most part, you can call your landlord to get it fixed, right? Or the super. You don't have property taxes. If there is no township inspector or rule or law coming by saying, hey, you can't, you have to trim your trees, or you got to make sure this is cut or cleaned or whatever, all that's taken care of by the groundskeeper of your complex that you live in. And if you're renting out a single family home on a smaller level, then the owner or the property management company handles those things for you for the most part. So, before you start knocking somebody for renting and not owning, you need to think about their situation before you open your mouth, number one. And I don't say that in a disrespectful manner before you open your mouth. I'm just saying, before you start trying to make someone feel bad or even if you're trying to open up their eyes, quote unquote, to the realities of renting, their reality and your reality just could be different. Their reality and your reality are just two different realities. And that's just the basics of it, particularly that you could be somebody who is financially fit, physically fit, mentally fit to handle and deal with homeownership. Well, there's people out there who are not financially fit to handle all the responsibilities of a homeowner. As a renter, you get rental insurance, right? And there's usually only kind of one set of rental insurance. Where as a homeowner, there's different types of insurances you need to get, depending on, is your property on well and septic? Is it in a flood zone? Is it known where, like, again, pipe busting, and I said that in the past because that happens quite more than people realize. What if the roof leaks, or what if the gutter breaks, there's a thunderstorm, a tree falls off. I mean, there's so many different things you have to worry about. And that just goes to home ownership. And that goes with the maturity level. And that goes with the physical level too. By physically fit, I'm talking about physically fit because there's something goes wrong. You can't just pick up the phone and call your landlord. You are the landlord. So you have to be like, I don't care how hard of a day you've had. If something goes bad or something happens at 1 a.m. and you just put in a solid days of work or whatever, you have to take care of it at 1 o'clock in the morning. You can't just say, well, let me make a phone call and that's it. You have to deal with it. So you have to be physically willing to do with some of these things. Mentally fit as well, mentally, because you are going to get pushed because of certain decisions you may have to make. You may live next to a shitty neighbor. Excuse me. You may live next to a shitty neighbor. Now you have to deal with them. Where if you're in an apartment and you have a shitty neighbor, you can potentially just complain to your landlord, hey, they're being too loud, they're doing this, they're doing that. So the rules are different. And there's things that some people just don't want to deal with, So, we've heard, I'm sure most of you've heard of, we pay for convenience. Well, maybe that's what a renter is doing. They're paying for the convenience that they don't want to deal with some of these headaches. Yes, you're not building up equity in a rental. Absolutely right. But you're not always building up equity in your home. If you buy it wrong, if you bought it when it was super high, you're not building equity. If you bought a house that's fully renovated, has updated kitchen and bathroom and bedrooms and landscape and all that stuff is done, there's no equity in there. Down the road, if all goes well, the market's just right and everything happens, of course, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, maybe a little bit shorter, but for the most part, that time or longer, yeah, you're going to be building equity, no doubt about it. But I would like people to think about before you start knocking those who are renting, that maybe that's what they deem fit. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who's renting should be renting. I'm sure there's a few people out there that, need educating on, real estate in general. I'm not arguing that at all. But before you start sitting there and being the guru of why a person should buy, not rent, I think you need to hear out their situation before, or you need to understand rather their situation about why they're renting. I know people who own a home right now who should not be owning a home. They're not prepared for it. That are bad, and I say this with all due respect, but a loan officer just was looking after their own pocket, not the well-being of the client. Excuse me. A loan officer was only looking after their pocket, not of the well-being of the client, and put them into a home that they know damn well the loan officer knew they couldn't afford. Because a lot of stuff don't take into consideration. Your cell phone bill, this, going out to eat, having a life costs money. We all know this. When you apply for a mortgage, your life is not evaluated. Just what paper statements come through and the bills attached with those statements is what's evaluated, and the income. That's it. So you need to think about that. And if you're listening to this and you're on the cusp, I'm currently running, maybe I should be buying because the interest rates are low. Great, they are low. But what are you buying? Are you buying something with equity? Are you buying something that you can do a value add where you can actually do an improvement to help increase the value of it? What are you doing? Or are you just going to get something because the interest rates are low? Don't get caught up into the hype of that stuff. So if you are renting and everything is going fine and you're managing your bills very well and everything's going good, okay, stick with it. That's fine. Nothing wrong with it. But don't just get because the interest rates are low. That's like me saying, I'm just going to go to a fast food joint because it's 2 for $1. It's cheap, but it doesn't mean I should put that into my body, right? So just certain things you don't do just because it's okay. I've been saving up money. I've been talking about it, thinking about it. I've done my homework, I've done my research. I spoke to so-and-so. And you know what? Interest rates are low at this point, and I've done this other due diligence in the past. So now's the time to strike. Okay, different story. But to do it strictly for the reason of interest rates only, in my opinion, I just don't think it's worth it. So anyways, that's what I got you guys. That's what I got for you guys today. Just basically, before you start passing on what is working for you to somebody else and thinking it's going to work for them, know the situation, know the realities of it, and just be kind. Don't beat them up too much. So each and every week I say the same thing. I close out every show with do right by the client. Right? Just do right by the client. If you do right by the client, everything else will fall into place. So be good to each other, be good to yourself, be safe out there, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.